Hi there, my name is Michelle Holland. I'm sitting in my car here doing this video because, like you, I suspect, I'm really busy and I need to take the opportunities between meetings and between doing other things, other life things like picking up my kids, to actually do some work. So I suspect you're exactly the same, that you're a very busy person and probably a really busy manager, and you're trying to fit things in between your meetings and between the breaks you have talking with people. It's a tough gig when you're a manager of a lot of people and you've got the massive function to actually manage, and totally get that. I was a manager for a number of years, and the juggling act that you have to put in place when you're actually trying to be a really good leader for your people and also deliver on the outcomes that you've promised your bosses and your business that you're actually going to deliver, as well as maintaining your own workload, usually a project load of your own, while trying to set vision and values and all sorts of different things for your business. And then of course what happens is that at some point your business hands you a document that has staff satisfaction survey results across it or culture results across it, and you start looking at this and it says, oh, I have a morale problem, or my people aren't as satisfied as I would like them to be, or the business is having culture issues, and even though my team seems to be doing okay, the organization wants us to focus on the culture. So we get handed this documentation, we get handed these results, and we're told that we have a morale problem, or we have a satisfaction problem, or we have a culture problem, or whatever it might be. And as a busy person, this is just another burden on top of what else you're doing. And this can be really overwhelming. And I know a lot of the leaders that I speak to about this, the first thing that pops into their head is, where do I start? This is such a big thing. Where do I start? It's really interesting because a lot of the leaders that I talk to, when they're handed this sort of stuff, the majority of them aren't saying to themselves, I don't have time for this, I'm going to push it away, I don't have time for this. Really, what they're saying is, I really want to have time for this because it is so bloody important to my business and my people and myself, and I need to find the time to do it. I need to prioritize this over other things. But I just don't know where to start. I just don't know where to start. Well, I've got the answer of where to start. Well, I can help you with that. I can help you put some systems in place, put some structure around the culture transformation that you want to make. I have a formula that I've come up with that when you first look at it, you think, oh God, it's a formula and it looks a bit complex and whatnot. But actually, when you break it down, it really helps you to formulate the where to start and how to get to where you actually want to get to. So it's a really important formula to help you to engage your people, to be able to get you to a point where you feel comfortable doing what you need to be able to do to take your culture where you want it to be. So as a busy manager, it's really important to have a really simple system to be able to work your way through. And I was looking for something like this a while ago. So when I was leading a team of people, my job was also to manage and lead the culture transformation program for the organization. So I had 14 people that were reporting to me and an organization of 600 people that we were trying to transform. So I get the struggle between trying to have a culture within your own team and also lead a project that transforms a business across the business. And it's a real balancing act. So when I started this process, I tried to look for the simple and easy things that would actually start me on that journey and find that place to start. So I did lots of research and lots of reading, and I started to look into different methodologies and different ways of being. And the thing for me that helped me do the where to start is I found a tool essentially that gave me some really good data. And the really good data really helped me to just understand where we were currently at. So I looked into that, I figured it out, I took my time, and had a look at the data and figured out that, you know, there was something going wrong in the business as far as performance was concerned. So I started down the track of looking at the performance of my team and how they were working, and started putting a few different things in place as far as performance discussions were concerned. And I had a look at the template and went, okay, this isn't really working for me, so I'm going to make a few modifications. And just doing that transformed the conversations that I was starting to have with my team. But it didn't completely transform the culture of the team. But what it did do was start me on that journey. And what it did was open up the conversations with the people that needed to work with me. And what it did was open up the conversations with the people that I wanted to work with and help them to transform the culture. So it was a small step, but it took me in a direction where I went, okay, I can actually do something to change how people are feeling within this team. And the bit that really was powerful for them was changing the way in which I did the performance discussions. So instead of me as the manager booking all of the performance discussions, I had them book their performance discussions. Instead of me writing up their performance plans, they took control of that and wrote up their performance plans, and then they brought them to me, which made it so that they were more in control of their performance planning process and discussions. So this is just one element, obviously, of transforming a culture, and one small thing that actually started me on the journey of looking at not only the conversations that I was having with people, but also the systems and the structures that sat underneath it all that could actually help me get better at the conversations, get better at managing the people, get better at balancing the workload and the culture of the team. And I kept moving that along. So I kept trying new things and putting new things into practice and putting new things into place and shifting different systems and practices, and even removing some of them as well. So I discovered really quite quickly that culture was less about the feeling aspect, and it was more about the systems when you're thinking about changing it. The feeling part of it is really important to understand where you're at right now. But if you only ever have a feeling conversation, then you're not actually going to get to the root cause. So I took that next step and really dug into what are the systems that are holding this culture into place, and what can I do to change them? That was something that I could do. So it didn't matter what the organization was doing. As I mentioned, I was actually leading that project as well. So I was able to take my learning and apply it broadly across the organization. But this was what I was doing with my own team. And eventually, as I started going through these different areas and different systems and looking at different things, I started to get better and better at finding the areas that were going to have an impact on the culture. So I was then taking that and applying it to the business and helping other leaders to shift and change their teams. The other thing I was doing was learning from the teams within the business that were actually doing some really great things and really understanding what it was they were actually doing. And a lot of it, again, was systemized and systemic through their team that actually supported them to be able to have the kind of culture that they wanted. This was a really important journey for me because it helped me to gather all the information that I've now captured into my formula for culture change. Now, the formula for culture change, there is some complexity to it, of course, but it actually provides you that step-by-step process so that you know where to start. I'm actually running a webinar really soon, and it's going to be all about this formula for change, and it'll step you through a few other things. It's how to be able to create that culture and that engagement that you want and get the profits that you want from your business without spending a huge amount of time and a huge amount of money on it and wasting that precious time that you've actually got as a really busy manager. So I'm hoping that you are able to join me for this webinar. It's coming up really soon. And so my name is Michelle Holland, and get onto that webinar. I've got some details below.